Hello Facebook, welcome to Retro Online Radio, www.retroradio.co.za. Alternatively, download the Retro Online Radio app. We have got Alison Weihe in studio with me. We're going to be speaking about her journey as an entrepreneur on the Business Hub in a couple of minutes from now, or in a minute from now. So hello Facebook. Retro Online Radio, playing the best of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now streaming live out of Johannesburg, South Africa. Timeless classics, South African style, to the world on www.retroradio.co.za. Alternatively, you can download the Retro Online Radio app off your favorite app store, whether you're Android or iOS or Apple. You can download it. Retro Online Radio. Just search for the logo that's got the blue graphic equalizer with the headphones over it, and you can take us anywhere you go. It's 10:32 on your Friday morning. We've got the Business Hub coming up now, but just a reminder about today's mixtape request line. Today's mixtape request line theme: your karaoke tunes. What 3 karaoke classics do you want to party to on the weekend when there's a microphone floating around and you feel like grabbing a microphone and having a little bit of fun? Send through your 3 favorite karaoke classics to 067 319 4403. It's time now for the Business Hub on Retro Online Radio.
It's Brett Herman's Business Hub. Businesses for entrepreneurs.
This is Retro Online Radio.
On the Business Hub, we focus on businesses, entrepreneurship, personal development, and positivity. So if you have your own business or are potentially wanting to start your own business, on the Business Hub, we focus on interviews with successful entrepreneurs, their secrets to success, business advice, books, seminars, anything that can help you grow and prosper. And my very special guest in studio with me today is Alison Weihe. She is an incredibly successful entrepreneur. She's been an entrepreneur for 22 years, but I'm not going to tell too much more of your story. Alison, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you for joining us in studio. Are you
been a
ready for the
pleasure.
weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to ask you to pull the microphone a little bit closer to you, just that we can get you there. Fantastic. So you're an entrepreneur, and you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time. Give us a little bit of a background to your history and how you became an entrepreneur and your business background over the last 22 years.
Well, 22 years ago, when we started our company, my husband and I, everybody said, what on earth do Friedel and Alison know about running a company? I was an ex-trade unionist and change management consultant,
Yeah.
and my husband came from a technical background, but no sophisticated business degrees or anything.
Okay.
And people said, give it 3 months. They pulled out all the stats. They said, oh, what a joke. They're going to have egg on their face. And we said, we had a long conversation with ourselves, and we said, if we fail, we'll have egg on our face.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody's expecting anyway. But if we don't try, we'll never know what it felt like to not try.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what made you, so what was the catalyst to make you start your own business? You know, because there's a couple of reasons entrepreneurs go on their own. The one is that they can't work for somebody else. So it's, well, I can't work for this person, I'm going to start my own thing. The other is out of necessity, to kind of go, I've been retrenched. And I think in today's economic climate, a lot of people that are losing their jobs and being retrenched are being forced to be entrepreneurs, which is why it's such a growth factor in South Africa as a country. What was your motivation to kind of go, well, let me get out of what I'm doing, let me get out of the trade union space and start my own business?
Yeah. I think I was long ago out of the trade union space. At that point, I was doing consulting and started to do some public speaking or different things. So I think both from my husband's side and my side, we were wanting to give our children a better life.
Okay.
We were wanting, but there was on the one side the economics,
Yes.
and I was more of a breadwinner, and my husband was working well and doing amazing work, but not earning what he felt his full potential was.
Yeah.
So part of it was the economic reality of if we want to make a life that we dreaming of that could be a better life, then we have to take this leap of faith and give it a try. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But there was another point for both of us, which was almost like a spiritual self-actualization. We both felt deep in ourselves we had something more. We had something unique to offer the world, and a passion and a drive. And my father had been a successful entrepreneur, and I'd seen him build up his company from nothing and see how he touched other people's lives and how he built up a team around him, and how he gave others an opportunity and a legacy. So I think there was a whole combination of factors that all played into one another, into arriving at the courage. Because at a certain point, it's all about courage.
Well, that is a massive thing as an entrepreneur, and having been an entrepreneur myself for the last 20 years, I think the courage is a massive thing. Would you say, just taking one step back, that understanding your why is critical? So understanding why you're wanting to start your own business, is that the first step? So if somebody's listening going, I'd like to start my own business, would the foundation be, well, why do you want to do that?
I think the why is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Because it is what fuels you when the chips are down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your why. And it's for us, interestingly enough, even though we wanted to give our children a better life and evolve as people, it wasn't about money. It was never about money for us, funnily enough. And given our backgrounds, that's not surprising. But it was about wanting to make a difference and wanting to provide service, provide impeccable service, and provide value and really kind of customer care.
Yes.
So we're incredibly driven about the business. We didn't even look at the bank balance, which, as you will interview me later, will probably come up with some challenges that came out as a result of that. But we weren't CAs. We weren't people looking at our bank balance every day. We were so passionate about what we were doing, about creating a niche and creating a passion, and basically allowing people to make their homes more beautiful. Because that was our driving passion, to give our love of architecture words.
That's beautiful. And identifying that why and making it a life-changing principle. If you can make your work a life-changing principle, then you'll never have a horrible day at work. You'll have challenges, without a doubt. Which brings us to the second part of the conversation, is, has it been plain sailing for 22 years? Has it been kind of no issues, no problems?
Absolutely not. So when we started, I remember there was 1 month where there was 2,000 Rand in the bank.
Wow.
And we ate noodles for a month. And my heart was like this. And we dug deep, and we went out there, and the next month we got over that hump, and we never ever owed a cent.
Sure, that's incredible.
And we lived very simply and very humbly, and we were incredibly focused. We worked, ate, slept, drank this company.
Really?
For the first 5 years. We went on our first honeymoon, our first proper honeymoon, because our first honeymoon was the camping honeymoon to Africa. It's not very romantic.
No, I can imagine not.
So my husband made up for it 7 years later when we could finally afford it by going on a proper honeymoon to Zanzibar. But that was how much we really lived it, breathed it. Our children were 2 and 3 when we started the company, and they said, "Mama, can we please have one weekend where we don't talk about stones, look at stones, go to nurseries or whatever?" But that was I think part of our success. There was no hours. There were no hours. There was no disjunct between who we were. There was no such thing as working hours. We were living our passion.
And I think that's incredible advice. So, I mean, 2 of the strong pearls of wisdom that have come out already is, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're wanting to become an entrepreneur, understanding your why and why you're doing what you're doing. And it could be that you've been retrenched and you need to start your own business, but understanding that why and what you're passionate about becomes critical. The second kind of bit of wisdom as an entrepreneur is, it's not a job. You need to eat, sleep it all day, every day. It is kind of what you need to what you need to do. It becomes all encompassing, and I think that's incredible. It's amazing what you were saying now, because being an entrepreneur and going on your own, there's a lot of risk involved, obviously, and you've got to minimize that risk as much as you possibly can in the planning phases before you take the leap of faith and do what you're wanting to do. And that's hard enough as an individual, as a person, one person within a relationship. Because typically somebody's got a salary that, if anything goes pear-shaped, at least there's one income. The fact that the two of you did it together must have made those tight months very, very scary. And with two little kids, that takes a lot. So when did you start the business?
We started in 1998.
1998. So, I mean, that's, 22 years ago. So 1998, things weren't rosy in South Africa. I mean, people say that you're starting a business now. I mean, the economy is shot. Things are tough. There's political instability, and we're in 2020. There's not much difference between now and 98. There was political instability then. There was tough economic times then. I think it was just a little bit before that the interest rate had hit horrible levels of like 22% or something ridiculous. But you still went out and did it because you had this belief that you could make a difference, that you could build something. You obviously overcame certain challenges over the last 22 years and earned some good school fees, as they call it. Do you want to share some of those challenges that you had to overcome, just to highlight that it's not plain sailing all the time? I mean, you've spoken now about things being tight in the beginning, and that you managed it very closely in those first 7 years. But what are some of the other challenges that you had to overcome?
Well, starting when we did was a difficult time. And I think it's important that people have forgotten. People have forgotten what it was like 94 period. I think we've all forgotten. And at the time, I was working for an organization called IDASA, and I was doing a lot of change management and some public speaking. And I was going to conservative white mining communities or conservative workforces and talking about the democracy, the new democracy, what it would entail, and allowing them to voice their fears as part of the process of managing the change. And what came up, and people have all forgotten this, is that people were stocking up on candles and tin food, and they were talking about swimming pool tax. Now, nobody remembers about swimming pool tax. But at that time, somebody had said they're going to tax swimming pools. Now, a lot of us have got swimming pools. So there was this whole thing about swimming pool tax. So we started at a time, or just after that, when things were quite tough. And in the beginning, we charged quite a bit for our services and our design consultancy. But because we're so passionate about what we did, people got that we were heart and soul in this. And they got the kind of personal elements. And when we went to consult, we didn't just talk about paving and flagstones. We almost gave them inspiration to design their gardens, and we collaborated with landscapers, and we gave them more, and they walked away thinking, wow, this has been so valuable. I'm seeing my garden space or my home in a whole different light. And it was the inspirational element, not just the practical product, that actually grew the business. So that was one element.
Okay, that's brilliant. And I mean, the one pearl of wisdom, or the one challenge or obstacle, or whatever you want to call it, that always comes out in an entrepreneurial conversation is cash flow. Cash flow, cash management, your clients, do they pay, don't they pay? Did you ever have kind of a challenge along the line in your history of building the business that cash became an issue?
So that was our major school fees, or one of our major school fees. And I think what happened for us is that because we weren't money-driven people, and we weren't all about the money, and we weren't used to analyzing, we had somebody doing the basic books, about halfway through our journey, and I can talk about it now because it's long gone and buried, and we've built the most successful, evolved, amazing business now, and rebuilt after we really hit a really rough patch in the middle. But 10 years into the company, we discovered a major internal fraud, and that was just an incredible moment in time, because we honestly felt like thought we might have egg on our faces when we started the business. Well, now we had egg on our faces midway.
Yeah.
And we were broken. We were emotionally broken. As a family, we sat and we went through and we got an audit trail and we looked at how somebody had been siphoning off and skimming off the company for 8 years. 8 years of our 10 years had been skimmed off.
That's amazing.
But we were broken, but we were not broke.
Yeah.
And the reason why we were not broke was because we had lived so carefully, we'd fixed old trucks, we'd lived carefully, so we didn't owe any money in the bank.
That's amazing.
So we were emotionally had to rebuild ourselves, and there were some staff that felt like, how could we work for such stupid bosses? And that's why I can talk about this now 10 years later, because actually we've turned things around and built the most incredibly successful, well-run, impeccable company, which we're incredibly proud of. But it took that, and it was an incredibly humbling experience, and it brought us to our knees, and I'm incredibly grateful for that, because that humility has stayed with me.
That's fantastic.
And that humility is what makes my passion to want to help other entrepreneurs.
And I think it is such a need to help other entrepreneurs, because one of the common mistakes, not everybody makes the mistake, but one of the common mistakes that entrepreneurs make is when cash starts coming in and when you sign a good contract or a big contract, the financial management around that kind of goes out the window a little bit, because you want to reward yourself. So all of a sudden you get into a bigger car, or you buy a bigger truck, or you change homes. And I think what I picked up what you were saying is, by not doing that, by not letting the ego get involved, kind of going, well, you know, let's expand our lifestyle, is what helped you survive that horrible fraud.
That was our saving grace.
Yeah.
That is why I'm able to sit here today talking to you.
That's amazing.
Because of that, and I speak a lot to young entrepreneurs, and I say, turnover is not profit.
Yeah.
And you go to a lot of these seminars, and there's a lot of rah-rah and hype, and how, you know, work on the business, not in the business. Well, in the beginning, you really have to work in the business, and in the beginning, you have to leave your ego at the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's about something that's bigger than you.
Yeah.
And yes, at a certain point, you want to embody who you are. And I finally bought myself a nicer car after 22 years in business. And I'm really enjoying it.
100%.
And I'm celebrating it and loving it, because that's part of my journey.
Yes.
Part of my journey was a journey to wholeness.
Okay.
And that's another separate topic. But yes, the entrepreneurial journey, you've got to be a realist.
Yeah.
I think some people are too much into this quick fix, and I believe myself in abundance and walk the talk, and yes, there is an element of that, and yes, you have to have an abundance in your heart and your why, and you have to self-talk yourself into self-belief every single day, because nobody else is going to do that for you.
That's very true. That's very true.
Don't let your sense of self be built by your external possessions as a means of believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, in your soul, because that is going to be ultimately what gives you that buffer of, like, we put everything into the company. It was all about the company. And that was our saving grace.
Fantastic.
Given our what happened.
Fantastic. If you've just joined us, this is Retro Mornings, starting your day the right way on Retro Online Radio. It's the Business Hub, and we're having a chat with entrepreneur Alison Weihe, who has built a business over the last 22 years. And you've shared some of the challenges, some of the pitfalls, understanding your why right at the beginning to start the process. Are you still involved in the business?
Yes, I'm a shareholder and I'm still a mentor in the company. But I think the reason why people have written some articles about our company. It's not like we're a massive company, but we are SME that people can relate to.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why they've been writing about it is because we've built up such a successful legacy succession plan, where we now have the company being run essentially by a young management team who have proved to be amazing. They're incredibly talented, they're incredibly driven, they're creative, they're disciplined, they're focused. They're actually better leaders than we were, and that's a sign of a true leader.
Yeah.
If you can let go and let somebody else shine, And it was important for me at a certain point to let go, because I'd been, to some degree, the public face of the company, because my husband doesn't really like being he's very technical, he doesn't really like to do public speaking. So because I'd been the public face, I had to learn to let go and let others shine.
Yeah.
Because that's part of their journey, to do things their way, their style, with their own stamp. And it's been an amazing success story. But I want to add that it was 8 years of coaching to arrive at that evolution, where we built ourselves up as a succession team, where we would let go, and we still work with a coach to this day. We work with a coaching company called Grow, who have been amazing, really amazing. And that's been part of our journey, is rebuilding from a fraud of close to more than 11 million. It was proven. It was probably more like 15 million over an 8-year period. We've rebuilt the company into an incredibly successful, solid, well-run, groomed machine.
That's amazing.
And full credit to the young management team, who also don't have formal business backgrounds, but they've been part of our journey. And we're giving another young entrepreneur a chance to put their stamp and to build up other people and to employ people in this country, because the future of this country depends on entrepreneurship, as we
very
all know.
much so. Very much so. And I think just speaking about building the legacy and what you've done, which is why you've had some media coverage around what you've done in the business, creating the legacy, being able to bring a management team in, being able to hand the company over, is something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't think about and don't get right. And it's called the exit strategy. And understanding your exit strategy is it's as important as understanding your why at the beginning of the process. And when you say to an entrepreneur, when you establish your why and you're about to launch your business, do you know what your exit strategy is? They go, I don't have an exit strategy, I'm just starting. But it becomes the pathway, it becomes how you navigate, how you manage the business. Because if you're running a business to give to your kids and do a handover, a legacy because you want to give it to your children, well, that's one way of running it. And there's different management styles that come from that.
Sure.
If you're wanting to build it to sell, that's also a very different strategy and a very different way of running it. And what you've successfully done is built a business that you can then hand over, coach a team, grow a team. But as you say, it's not a quick fix. It's an 8-year process that you've been through. And is that part of what you do from a coaching perspective now, is help people understand those dynamics as an entrepreneur?
Yes, I think because I learned so much in that process, and I think a deep part of my coaching process has been my evolution in the last 3 years. So yes, my background as a trade unionist way back when was part of my journey, working in the poorest areas of South Africa, to then as a businesswoman working in the richest suburbs of South Africa. I've really seen a slice of life that few other people have seen, I think, and that has enriched my life to a degree. So when young entrepreneurs come to me, I've really seen a lot of life, I think, at my age. And so that informs who I am now. But apart from that, I have invested in myself in the last 3 years as a journey of giving back. So I did a formal entrepreneurship diploma, I did a coaching diploma through UCT, I did a conversational intelligence diploma through the US, I've done an image styling diploma. So all of those are tools for me to help young entrepreneurs, and I'm in an incredibly privileged position where I can give back. And I just feel, given my life and my weird, contorted evolution of a life less traveled, a road less traveled, I didn't go through the usual just straight road. It was left lines and caverns and crevices and I don't know what. I've come out richer at the other side. But really, the last 3 years have been part of a deep soul journey where I've started to believe in myself a little bit more and know that if I want to give back, I've got to get out of my way of my own insecurities in order to be able to be a voice and help others. As long as I stay rooted in my own fear, as long as I stay rooted in, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, who am I to give a message? Well, as long as I stay there, I'll be invisible, and who can I help? So I think in this country, we live in challenging times, and it's easy to sit around at a braai and say, oh, the jokes that come out and you know, the state of the nation. And it's easy to stay in that space.
Yeah.
But to take the courage to get rid of your own insecurities so that you can give back and rebuild in whatever form that is. That's why I'm part of a group called I'm Staying. Not because I want to be part of a rainbow nation, and if we help somebody with groceries, I know there's a lot of criticism out there. People say, oh, but if you're just helping somebody with groceries, what are you doing to change the fundamentals? Well, I've been in politics, I've been in the trenches, I understand politics, I worked under Cyril Ramaphosa, I've worked under a lot of key leaders in this country, and so I know that it's real. The challenges are real.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make out in any shape or form that we don't face real challenges in this country and a diminishing tax base especially. But if I choose to get out of bed, gloom and doom, it's going to affect my staff, it's going to affect my family, it's going to affect everybody around me. So I've made a conscious choice to get out of bed in the morning and greet every day with an opportunity for how can I make a difference? And how can I get over my own sort of maybe a bit insecurity, it's a bit nerve-wracking for me talking. But if I can get over myself and if I can help somebody else, I've also had a long journey to wholeness in my own personal journey, that's another separate journey. But if I can help another person believe in themselves a little bit more or have some tools in the journey, like you spoke earlier about you don't just jump ship when you, as an entrepreneur, well, we didn't just jump ship initially as an entrepreneur. We had part-time jobs, we hustled a little bit, we created a platform where we could. So all those things are lessons. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you can hustle.
Yeah.
You can hustle on the side and gain skills while you're hustling. And the other thing I also believe is that whatever you're doing in life, if you're in a job right now, you are always working for yourself. You are never working for somebody else. Because every single thing I did in my life everything I did in my life was part of my journey to get me to where I am now.
Yeah.
So people say, oh, what does a trade unionist, I mean, a kind of lefty activist know about starting a company? Well, I'd organized mass meetings of 10,000 people. I'd done t-shirts, I'd done design, I'd done journalism, I'd done photography, I'd done everything.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do when you're in the trenches.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's part of my journey.
Definitely.
So instead of going, oh my God, people are going to judge me that I was that in the past, I'm embracing who I am now as a result of who I was. And I'm embracing all the pain of all the lack of self-doubt, or the lack of self-knowledge, the lack of self-doubt, or the self-doubt that existed. And I'm embracing that now so that I can help other people. Not wait till they're 61 till they start believing in themselves. I only started believing in myself like 55, 58.
Wow.
I
That's
don't want
amazing.
others to live that journey. Even though I'd achieved on some level as an entrepreneur, I still didn't believe in myself. I still wasn't willing to go out on the platform and talk.
That's
And
incredible.
something's happened to me in the last 3 years that's been an incredible journey of the soul. To know that I have a reason to be on this planet and I have a reason why I was born in this country.
Well, the amazing thing about that is that being an entrepreneur, running a successful business and growing a successful business over 22 years, you're an entrepreneur by DNA, I think. So that
I think there's some
journey,
of that.
So that journey over the last 3 years has given birth to a new business.
Absolutely.
And that business is called
Luminous Leadership.
Luminous Leadership. And this is exactly what you're doing. So you coaching entrepreneurs, you helping them through some of your lessons, through some of the realities that you've been through as an entrepreneur. You're also doing talks where you kind of can address a group of people in a business through some of the principles of leadership, of entrepreneurship. So if somebody wants to engage with you and kind of get together to say, look, I need help in my business, I need direction on my why, I need direction on my exit strategy, I need direction on where I'm going, how do they get hold of you?
Well, you can look at my LinkedIn profile in terms of more on the speaking side. And then the website is luminousleadership.co.za. That's more on the coaching side.
Okay.
And both those ones kind of work together. So I do need to update the website to reflect more of the speaking journey, but I'm really starting on the speaking journey more now. But I believe that if there's an opportunity to touch somebody else's life, if there's an opportunity to help another person just have more tools, because courage goes with tools.
Yes.
Your mindset is one thing. You can have that mindset, but if you don't have the tools alongside the mindset, and if I can help another person not ever have a fraud, because I know exactly what to look for,
Yeah.
and we had a very sophisticated fraudster in our midst,
Sure.
which the NPA said they'd never come across anybody quite so sophisticated.
Really?
Yeah. So, if I can help another person not experience some of those pitfalls, because we don't have 58 years to play in this
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
We don't have a lifetime to find our way. We need to find our way fast with a lot of entrepreneurs quickly.
Quickly.
I think
Absolutely.
sometimes we don't realize this country's in crisis, and without sounding melodramatic, the tax base is diminishing fast. And we do have a crisis. But it's a crisis that we can either choose to pull up our jackets and our sleeves and actually get involved in trying to make a difference, or we can berate it and say, isn't it terrible, the country's going to the dogs. You can choose which side of the fence you want to be on.
100%. 100%. Well, I think that is such a positive outlook, is pulling up the sleeves, getting stuck in, being an entrepreneur that has contributed to the country for the last 25 years or 22 years, starting a business to help that coaching and mentorship of entrepreneurs, that they can bypass some of the lessons, hopefully through your experiences, to speed up that process of success and growth and development, I think is brilliant. And what you clearly have done is been through a personal journey. So I think we need to get you back just to speak around the personal development
I love that.
and
I love
personal
that.
journey.
It's my
space.
passion. It's my
Fantastic.
absolute passion, and the two are so aligned.
Yeah.
The two are so aligned.
That's great. Alison, thank you so much for coming into studio. If you'd like to get hold of Alison, luminousleadership.co.za is the website you can go on. All your contact details are on there, or they can find you on LinkedIn and social media. But massive insight for entrepreneurs. Thank you for sharing some of your experiences and your wisdom and insights. And we'll definitely have you back to speak around personal development and personal growth and a personal journey that you've been through.
Thank you, Brett. It's been a privilege.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This is Retro Online Radio, playing the best of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now it's 3 minutes past 11. We're into the final hour of Retro Mornings, starting your day the right way, streaming live out of Johannesburg, South Africa. Sunny South Africa today, 26 degrees in the Johannesburg area. It is a beautiful day, and tomorrow also no rain forecast, and is going to be a beautiful weekend. So if you're looking for something to do tomorrow, make your way down to a Viking thing at Rusty Hook, which is in Mildersdrift, in Honeydew. So make your way to Rusty Hook in Honeydew for a Viking thing. You will see the South African medieval fighters in action, raising funds for their trip to Spain to compete in the International Medieval Combat Federation Championship. Tickets are 80 Rand. If you'd like to book today, go on to quicket.co.za. 80 Rand for adults, 40 Rand for children under 12. So get your mates together, don your shields and armor, and book your tickets today on quicket.co.za for a fun-filled morning. And we will be doing a live outside broadcast from there. The Bish and the Fish will be there doing the 30th anniversary of Retro Hits, the top 40 from 1990. Between 9 and 12 tomorrow. If you can't make it to a Viking thing, then make sure that you tune in to Retro Online Radio tomorrow morning between 9 and 12 for the 1990 Top 40 chart show. But it is a Friday morning. We've got the mixtape request line coming up in about half an hour from now, and today's theme is your karaoke classics. What 3 karaoke classics are you prone to sing when you have a bit of a party? Send your request through to 067 319 4403. I'm not going to make you sing them. I just want the original song names, and I'm going to play the songs for you, and you can sing away in your car, in your office, wherever you may be. So send through your 3 karaoke classics, 067 319 4403. But it's time now for the Weekend Baby Party Classic. This is the Wamdu Project. It's King of My Castle. Thank you for watching, everybody.